Okay. Jupiter's here. All right, you know what? Fuck it. We're gonna start. All right. So basically, obviously, second chapter for the second episode and whatnot. You guys made your first assault here. Just gonna give you a little zit rep, just an overview of what had happened in between the three platoons. So obviously, Shadow, they did kick it off. They started a little bit earlier. They had deployed to go to the west of the gravestone, if you will. They secured the comm station and they were able to hack the comm station. The hacking of the comm station allowed them one benefit, or two, should I say. One was to gain some intel that is on the archive, and the other was a benefit of revealing locations of enemies. I will let you guys know where those enemies are later on. Shadow also finished another main objective, which was landing zone Sarlacc. They were able to secure it, and so that is now a viable LZ. Shadow Platoon came in at, pull up my notes here. Shadow Platoon, they ended up having 48 out of 100 reservists left. Okay, going to Wraith. Wraith, they went up the gut. They basically secured landing zone Zillow as a fallback plan, and then they had moved to clear out the Zero G laboratory. After they had cleared out the Zero G laboratory, they began to push up to the major spaceport, which is up here to the northeast.
User joined
As
your
you guys can
channel.
see, it is in purple. That means that this objective is contested. Rank Platoon was actually able to go in and push into the objective and basically disable the munificence and detach them, the two munificence that were attached to the spaceport. However, there is still a lot of hostile forces basically concentrated in this northwestern side, and but primarily in this northeastern side. Though Ray Platoon did a good job, in addition to detaching these munificence and letting them their weapons disabled, they did a great job with basically getting a foothold in this objective to the southwest. Currently, it is in a stalemate. This objective is contested. What that means is, if you guys remember, the benefit for the objective was it allows supplies to go faster and move faster behind enemy lines. That no longer benefits either
User
side.
disconnected from your
This is
channel.
still an objective that can be pushed on by the CIS, and I will update you because the CIS did try to do some shenanigans over here, but failed. So you guys still have a solid foothold in this objective. In this objective, though, there are trench lines set up. The CIS were able to establish trenches to hold their line along here. You guys will be able to roll here in the future to decide what the entrenchments for you guys are going to look like for the position that you hold in the major spaceport. Next, that was the last thing that Wraith did for their operation. They had suffered. They were left with 26 reservists out of 125. Um, they did not have a great time due to broken HMPs. Again, sorry. Shout out to the Wraith platoon guys. Sorry, sorry for that. We are getting that fixed. Next is going to be Spirit. Spirit. They departed, I believe, an hour later after Shadow Platoon did, and basically they made some headway in clearing, getting some prisoners out of the CIS holding center, and then there used to be a munificent here, if you guys remember, to the east of the gravestone. However, you guys were able to neutralize that. Now, here's where the spiciness does turn up. Up to the north, obviously, there is a strike team that was led by South, Banshee, and Spectre 2 to basically go deep behind enemy lines and take this deep space listening post. They never really captured the objective due to overwhelming enemy force. However, they were semi-effective, if you will, in basically disrupting the objective and doing some damage to it. What that means is the Republic does not have control of this objective. It is still in CIS hands. However, the damage that they did do to the objective itself will delay the response of the Separatist warships, if you guys remember. The Separatists, they're currently really worried about that, and they're trying to repair it
User
as
joined your
fast as
channel.
possible. So do keep that in mind. Is there any questions on what you guys did along with what you did last week? Any questions? No? Cool. Now, we're gonna go ahead and skip the new systems. You guys understand the new systems? First, I'm gonna go ahead and skip the gravestone until you guys actually get to planning itself. First thing that we're gonna go ahead and do here is this new system. It's gonna be the casualty system. As you guys remember, a percentage of the casualties that you guys incurred as a platoon will be able to be recovered after weeks of rest. Going through and calculating the total death counts from all three platoons, the total casualty count was 217. Now we're going to go ahead and enroll here for basically what percentage of these casualties will be able to recover. And as you guys see here, the ones that are watching the stream, on the archive here, it says the casualty
User
roll. So
left your
these are the
channel.
chance percentages that you're going to get this roll in some examples here. So we're going to go ahead, and I do have the die here. Does anybody want to do any special saying or whatnot and blow on the die like South did? Hopefully you guys don't get something bad this time. No? Yeah. They're going to go ahead and roll her here. Alright. Alright, very good. Very good. You guys got a 15. So basically 15, that means you guys had a 40% fatality. So if I go in here and 217 by 10. We'll go ahead and round it up. So 40% fatality is 86.8, but for the methods of this, we will just round up. So it's going to wound up being 87. So 87. Okay, so you guys will have 130 that are able to these casualties will able to recover, and then they will be thrown back into the reserve pot in week 3. Any questions on the casualties? No? Cool. How you doing? Keep it moving. All right. Um, you guys already have the list of objectives. You guys got a briefing on the objectives. I'm gonna skip that this week. I'm not gonna be long and boring. What I will though go ahead and do before you guys actually dip down into the platoon planning is I'm going to go ahead and reveal some stuff to you and basically give you some information on what's happening on the front lines. So the Separatists, as Wraith Platoon knows, there were 2 munificents that were here at this major spaceport. However, after they were detached and basically disabled for that engagement, the Separatist commander had decided to pull off the munificents to move and support other parts of this region. One munificent had moved to the northwest to actually go and support this listening post. To me, I mean, that just shows how important that is. And another munificent had went and pulled off west to support the central hub and basically hold down the center of this region. That is where those 2 munificents are. Now, when it comes to actual offenses, right? The only offense that was truly imposed, because it does seem like the separatist units are trying to get a foothold, because certainly this attack um, was not calculated for them. The only thing was they had sent an airborne company of droids to the south over here on the east side of the major spaceport. Okay. What they were trying to do is they were trying to basically create a foothold behind enemy lines and hopefully cut off the troops that are currently at the major spaceport. Though Wampa was able to not negotiate, basically engage and neutralize all incoming separatist gunships, and that attack had completely failed. So shout out
Forceful
to
negotiations.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that attack had basically failed. The other thing is that we do know of in terms of offenses is that there is a armored company or platoon, apologies, platoon pushing to the southwest over here towards LZ Starlight. Hey Dongle, if you could you throw down those markers that we did have before on the lines that I'm doing? So that airborne platoon and then the airborne company and the armor platoon. There's an armor platoon moving southwest towards LZ Starlight, so just know that they're trying to regain whatever land they had lost here. If you guys decide to land at LZ Starlight, do expect for it to be quite hot with incoming armor. When it does come to what we had gotten, let me get the picture. Now, as I mentioned before, there is the communication center that Mystic was able to hack successfully. You guys did get some intel on it. That intel is in the archive, but it is also, you guys also got the location of some units. Grab that here. Hey, while we're raiding, Nick X, do you want to tell us what happened yesterday,
Um,
brother?
Unfortunately, when South was trying to take the listening post, he was captured by the CIS. Now, despite my best efforts of moving in 3 gunships, the whole platoon, Banshee on the ground, Spectre on the ground, I tried my hardest. I couldn't get him out. I deemed it more appropriate to save the 2 squads on the ground and not risk any further bloodshed of our own guys. South hopefully should still be there, but I tried. I did my best. I couldn't get him out.
Absolutely tragic to hear. Reports said that he tried to valiantly save a downed mystic member. Is that correct? And basically
That is
risked his
correct.
life.
He attempted to get the Mystic member out valiantly. Unfortunately, myself and the rest of the platoon valiantly attempted to save him, but failed.
Well, okay. Well, all I gotta say is whoever that mystic member is, I hope you are worth the entire company. 'Cause you risked that Exo saved you and risked. For all we know, he could be dead. You know what I mean?
It's
Anyways,
okay, Jupa. It's okay.
Yeah, don't cry, Jupiter. Finish up here. All right, so thank you for that input and report there, Nick X. So there is up here to the north. We were able to get some intel from this communication center. All right, it stated that there was some armor. There's an armor platoon, airborne company, and infantry company all around the ZRG Capital Repair Center. In addition, there is also an infantry company uh, huddled around this comm station. So that was basically some intel that you were able to grab. There are two airborne companies operating in this region here and then this region. So keep an eye out for that. They may be either defending or assaulting, depending on their location. And ARF had seen that up here to the northeast, that if you guys see this capital ship dry dock, there was an armored platoon there. However, they had began to mobilize them to pull back and try to defend that deep space listening post. Tragically, though, in addition to the deep space listening post, ARF had also reported that they're beginning to heavily entrench and fortify this deep space listening post due to they know it's exposed and the importance of it. Um, that is all I have. Dongle, am I missing anything right now before they get into company planning?
I can't think of anything else that you've missed.
Okay. Cool. We're doing good on time here. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know throughout this. I'm gonna go ahead and release it to you guys. Go ahead and do your company planning. Do remember you have the option of landing the gravestone at LZ Sarlacc and or LZ or not or LZ Zillow. So do keep that in mind. And also as a reminder, every main objective that you get is 2 to 3 side objectives. So hopefully that puts that in perspective. And yeah, go ahead and start going at it.
Alrighty. So, um, Legacy.
Yeah, what's up?
If we land the gravestone, would the assets be available for operations, or would we have to wait?
No. If they land at the start of this new chapter, the gravestone won't be landed. So you guys will be able to utilize those assets.
Oh, Nick X, I'm really thinking we could take that landing zone Sarlacc still and set up a front there, landing the acclimator in, and split up between these 3 circles here for each platoon, pretty much. One platoon will need to take that 0G maintenance center right there, but other than that, we'll just separate each of these circles for each platoon.
Yeah, agreed.
Is what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do we have any idea where South is being currently held, Legacy?
We do not have any intel at this time. So yeah.
Okay, all right.
Wraith Platoon actually has a borderline conflicting idea. One thing Wraith Platoon leadership would like to do is take a Mystic team and set up a FOB somewhere around the eastern side, southern of the major spaceport, recapturing that objective, and then pushing forth north back into the dry dock, taking that out so that they wouldn't have that key asset, and that would also open up a secondary point of insertion once that FOB has been created, so we can be inserting from both the east and the western theaters.
I do like that idea. It would prevent us re-losing the spaceport. However, I'm more on board with Charger and Nickix with needing to land to the west. I don't think holding off that armor platoon is going to be a big deal if we're on the ground and can unload our assets. And the west gives us probably the best attack point without having to go at what I assume, based on what we encountered this past weekend, those CIS munificents are going to be absolute nightmares when it comes to taking out our aircraft, which means that you guys can at least get to your nearby objectives. But I think there's a point to be made for the Wraith finishing the fight on the spaceport.
Don't get me wrong, I'd still vote for the landing zone Starlight Landing, but taking Mystic and creating a secondary FOB on the eastern side.
I think just in terms of piloting, in terms of the safety of the pilots flying over these heavily air-defended areas, if we follow Charger's plan and take these first 3 here on the white line, it means that the pilots don't have to bother with any of that there in terms of flying over heavily defended areas.
That we do take that route, where we're basically just taking all 3 of these sectors, it's going to extend our line to basically this point. I am fully certain that they're going to take that spaceport back, which is just, we're going to have to take that loss. We're going to take that L for now, but we'll have all of this airspace to ourselves. So I think that really outweighs that spaceport overall. And one of us could even get a FOB. Whoever goes in the middle, I would suggest, is where we would set up our FOB somewhere in this middle objective, or at least up here at the top, more north then. But
Yeah, I agree with that.
FOBs carry over to other platoons, but only in the next chapter, Legacy?
Yeah, that's correct. So if a FOB set up... Yeah.
So if Wraith set one up tomorrow, or Saturday, Spirit and Shadow could use it the following chapter.
That's correct.
Okay. So even those munificents were running that heavy new air defense missile technology. I think from Sarlacc with heavies on the ground, you could potentially roll out. And one of the things that we might have to do, depending on how heavy it is get you into the initial area. But then with those red air circles, get you MTT or RTT transports or something on ground if possible to keep you guys moving. We got caught a couple of times where infantry had to be kind of at a standstill this past weekend because of how heavy the air combat was. So one of the things I want to do is try and prevent you guys from getting stuck this weekend.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it for at least Shadow. I'm pretty sure it's dead set for us to. Our best spot would probably be heading up direct north to take on that armor platoon and the repair center along with the comm station. And I mean, we could pick between Wraith or Shadow, or Wraith or Spirit, who wants to take the two others below that to the south. And we also need someone to take that 0G maintenance center. I'm assuming whoever goes to the central hub will take the 0G. So
I'm more than happy to take the central AO.
all right.
Legacy, what exactly does the central hub entail again?
So the central hub, it has a buff to, basically just think of it like an HQ. It buffs and coordinates the defenses for all these objectives, right? For the objective sheet. So it's pretty important for these objectives in coordinating their own defenses.
There's a chance South could be there as well.
Gotcha.
Kind of thinking.
I assume Spirit will have to counter this armor platoon to our northeast, right?
Yeah, is that going to be attacking all of us as we're pushing out, or is it just for whoever's closest to that?
I mean, honestly, that's not a bad idea. Kind of like how what Nick actually said here, being like, hey, just kind of assign one platoon to go deal with it in a sense. So in this case, like, I don't know, I just say in my opinion, Spirit being the only one seeing it.
Because we can deal with that. We can probably set up some sort of like defense line along there on that squiggly line and wait for them to come to us, hit them, and then move up to the actual objectives themselves.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Okay. Set up a blocking position. Do we have the ability to roll for a Mystic to put down defenses?
You guys don't have Mystic.
Okay.
Whenever we get to the assets, I'll actually get some more info about something.
On the note of that, Nick X, I'm probably gonna have you guys set up the fob there in the middle, so we'll have like that middle area as our staging point to take everything else.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the best spot to put it.
Put it in the in a crater.
Yeah. Somewhere close to that repair center, or
Happy with that?
yeah, that'll do. All right.
I did have the intel handed up to me from one of my cadets. He flew for Spirit Platoon and said he got a look at the B2 that made off with South. He said it had distinct red triangular markings and was utilizing a jump pack attachment to the back of him, so some sort of modified B2 variant to look out for.
That's some good information there. Is this gonna be you guys cool with your plan right now? Are you guys set for it?
Yeah.
Wraith is having a little bit of conversation on the side at the moment, so a couple minutes before it's fully settled.
If you guys want to go ahead and while that's going on, I'll let you guys know that also additionally to Wraith Platoon, for their operation, whenever they went up the gut on their way to the major spaceport, they had basically been tasked to rescue a couple number of downed lats, and one of those lats was Ark Boyle and his team. Currently, they are injured and recovering from the battle, though that doesn't mean you won't be able to see them here in the future. So just kind of keep that in mind. Probably in the coming weeks, they could be an asset that could be utilized at your disposal. We're going to actually, we've decided this week there will be a side op. It will be TBD. It'll be announced probably here pretty soon, but it's going to be in regards to Poltergeist. Poltergeist will be actually, they're going to be utilizing both your ARF teams, though we will still be rolling in some sense here. What we're going to be rolling for is we're going to have two roles. We're going to be rolling for one, how much time they're going to be allotted, and then two, we're going to be rolling for um, probably the difficulty. I would say is going to be the easiest way to explain it. How many patrols are going to be out, how likely they are to be caught, and whatnot. Um, are you guys willing to do that, or do you just want to roll with how we did it last week?
I'm for
That
the
one's
side up.
fine.
But
Yeah.
And for the side up, it's just basically once we have a set of objectives locked, they essentially get free reign of the AO, I assume.
So basically the priority is just for the side op. It would just be recon. Right? It won't be like anything offensive in a sense. So there will be the ones getting you some intel on, hey, this objective looks like this. This objective, hey, we got towers here, here, and here, or basically how tough it's going to be looking. They have proton cannons. It allows them to get a more in-depth look, if you will, on what's going to be there whenever your platoons arrive. You guys down for that?
Gotcha. And they once we decide on the objective. So for example, if we decide on this current array of objectives, they have free reign of this AO, right? To go explore all these objectives.
That's correct.
They're
All
not
the
like
objectives that you guys have set for this chapter of the week.
okay.
All right, so after some deliberation with the rest of Wraith leadership, they are a little bit sore losers, and they are really wanting to push for that major spaceport. So I guess if we could take that as a fourth major objective, just extending out afterwards, it'll be more of a contingency on based whether or not we get the Munificent in time. It'll be a secondary fourth objective, I guess. But I'm being extremely pressured to go ahead and push for that objective.
I disagree with that. I think that'd be massively overextending as well. I think if, like, you know, they're so desperate to have that objective, they should be here.
Yeah. The reason why I'm not pushing you guys out there is because that after the three objectives that you have already to deal with, you're gonna have the side objectives for those on top of that, and I don't know how many casualties that you're gonna obtain through that time, and I don't want you to be pushed to lose even more casualties after you finish the first three. Just to spare lives, for say. So I don't want to
that
overextend
was
you
points
guys
that I brought
outside.
up with Wraith leadership. However, they think that is a viable sacrifice to make for that spaceport. They don't want it to be a second full on siege on that when it's theirs again. They would rather take it when it's still neutral.
Well, as overseeing the whole operation as it is, I'm not taking that chance. I'm going to disregard.
Copy that.
The only other thing is if we were to shift you off of this, the only other option I would see if we were to want to try is essentially go for like a reverse like pincer in a sense. So starting from the spaceport, then go to the Magnificent or Central Hub, either or, hit those two, and essentially we would envelop the zero-G maintenance center within our front line, and it'd just be hopping there, taking it out next operation, and fucking off to the next point or next chapter.
Legacy, what benefit does this maintenance center give to them again?
For the thing I had linked, scroll. Let me find it real quick.
They're capable of rearm and bombard them.
Copy.
So especially whenever you guys are coming up close on these munificents, and these kind of you do if we have dry docks, right? You guys got to keep in mind to expect what is supposed to be at a dry dock, aka ships. So if this allows them to bombard, then pretty important. Bless you.
I think we have a solid plan already. I don't think we should be changing it at this point.
Yeah, I think it's good where it is.
If that's final consensus, we'll go ahead and I guess ARF really isn't gonna affect you guys right now. If you guys want to go ahead and do your reserves, you want to go ahead and divvy it up. Remember, you have a total of 375. Average, if you were to split it equally, is 125 reserves. And you guys, let me get the number for you. 370. I have it written down here. So you had 158 left over from the previous engagement, and then 625. So you currently have 783 reserves left in that pool.
All right. Spirit, how
How
many
much
you
did you
want
say
to
it
take?
was?
Your total pool is
Yeah.
783, but your allotted cap per week is the 375.
What did Spirit lose last time, Legacy?
Spirit, you guys went in with 150, right? And he came out with 84 left over, with left you at 66. Kind of.
I'd be happy with 125 Charger, depending on what you guys want.
125, you said?
Yeah, 125.
I'm probably gonna take the same. Wraith, what do you guys want to take?
Three-way split sounds even. None of these objectives seem ridiculously skewed in weight towards one platoon or the other. It seems like an even split would be fine.
Alrighty then. So yeah, Legacy, we're gonna all each take 125.
All right, copy. Excuse me, copy that. 125. What's the time that you want to deploy each platoon?
I'm gonna go ahead and say for Shadow, it's going to be same time, so around like 9 o'clock a.m.
Guys, yeah, you guys went on podcast.
Yeah, Spirit will go an hour earlier. We'll do 8 a.m.
Damn.
Gotta get out, tip of the spear.
You gotta deal with that armor for everybody else mixing out.
I recommend 8 a.m. for all 3 platoons, just because the visibility gets really bad at dusk.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest for Wraith somewhat either towards early morning, so I guess 8 a.m. would work.
Alright. Shadow platoon, guess you're sleeping in.
Yep.
800. Alright, so we already got your lines here, you got your deployment times, you got your allotted reservists split equal all 3 ways. Last thing is obviously we're gonna be going to go ahead and roll here. We usually roll with a D6, though today we are gonna be rolling with a Alright, we usually roll with a D20. Today we're gonna be rolling with a D6 for ARF. Again, we're gonna be rolling twice for this side op here. The first is gonna be how much time they're gonna get. Alright. That timer will start whenever they step off. It ranges between 30 and 55 minutes, and it's 5-minute increments per roll they get. So, comm station buff. No, not. It doesn't have any buffs specified for the communication station dongle. So yeah, it's between 30 and 55 with 5-minute increments in between each. Let's go ahead and roll it then. And it'd be so nice if Arma had like an in-game script or something. Did it?
A D20 roll script. I'm sure you can
Yeah.
make one.
Well, I'm not a nerd, so. Alright, so you guys hit a 3. Basically, that's going to give our 40 minutes to go ahead and do it. Let me pull up my other sheet here. Like 20 of them right now. This is going to determine the difficulty. So we have, basically, we're going to be rolling for this one. Let's go ahead and keep it with the, we'll do it with the D6. And basically, we have an easy, medium, and hard. Easy is going to be 2 and under. Hard is going to be, or medium is going to be 3 and 4, and then hard is going to be 5 and 6. Roller. Alright, cool. I don't know what the hell is wrong with this thing, but medium all the way. So you guys have an allotted 40 minutes, and then it's going to be basically medium. What that's going to mean is you're going to see a lot of air patrolling in the AO, but you'll see a lot of infantry certainly patrolling these objectives and vehicles. So not too much air, though that doesn't mean you. I believe that does come to a conclusion. Dongle, am I missing anything?
Not that I can think about.
Alright, cool. Obviously, Shadow Platoon, they're deploying at 0900, 125. Wraith Platoon, they'll be deploying on the red phase, 0800, with 125 reservists. Spirit Platoon will be deploying on the blue phase line at 0800, 125, though they are also tasked to build a fob there. And hopefully you guys do push, and get a foothold as well. Yeah, that's about it. Are there any questions from staff? No, going once, going twice. All right. Thank you guys for coming out to the war room for your chapter 2. Obviously, this is very important on the planning that they are making. It does impact what happens in these operations. So thank these guys for taking the time out and come out during the day, especially Nick X. It's like 2 a.m. or something for. But other than
It's
that,
11 p.m.
yeah, I know. I'm over exaggerating.
Yeah, it's 4 a.m.
Again, congrats, Nick X, on his promotion to acting platoon leader until South is found. To be determined, I guess. But that's about it. I'll go ahead and shoot out a recap here probably later tonight.